I gotta admit, I think I'm rooting for the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl. And here's why, just for a very specific reason. You guys have been watching me for a long time. I've had this YouTube channel for like 6 years. One of my major themes is I don't like the contracts for quarterbacks in the NFL. I feel like these billionaire owners are just simplify the process too much. It's the most important position. Let's spend as much money as possible on our guy. And you have these weird contracts like the Tua contract, the Jordan Love contract, the Trevor Lawrence contract, the Dak contract, where it's like these guys are clearly not elite and yet they're getting elite money because the market said so. The market really decided that there's only two ways to win a Super Bowl: paying a quarterback hella money or having a quarterback on a rookie deal. And I like the idea that the Seahawks could come in and sort of prove to all these billionaires in the whole league that no, there's a third way to win a Super Bowl. To have a good quarterback, not a great quarterback, but a good experienced quarterback on a mid-level deal. Someone more experienced than a JJ McCarthy, Drake May, Jaden Dan, someone more experienced than a 22 or 23-year-old, someone who's on his second contract, who's seen the ups and the downs of the league. That guy. I think it'd be really cool because all of a sudden, if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl making this money, I think a lot of quarterbacks are going to be lumped into his tier, and are like all of a sudden Tua would be seen. Well, not Tua, but Jordan Love would be seen more as a Sam Darnold type quarterback than a Patrick Mahomes type quarterback. I mean, I think a lot of these quarterbacks would lose money. That the bubble of this market would pop, and I think that's a good thing for the league. Like I'm hypercritical of Brock Purdy, and a lot of Niner fans don't like that. But the main reason I feel is because the Niners invested too much in him. They made him too expensive. So even if he does play 17 games a season, which he doesn't, he's either not going to have the offensive line, he's not going to have the weapons, or he's not going to have the defense. You can't put the whole team together unless you have the best drafter in the league like Howie Roseman, and they don't. They have John Lynch. So if they had Brock Purdy for $30 million a year, I'd love it. It would be great. Can you imagine Brock Purdy making the Sam Darnold contract? You could definitely put together, I feel, a Super Bowl championship team. And before you say, well, Brock Purdy's, money hasn't really kicked in yet and he's still relatively affordable against the cap. Yeah, but they're building the whole roster, not just for this year, like for the next 5 years in mind. And they have a whole, 5-year future outlook. And it's with Brock Purdy's contract factoring heavily into it. They're not making big investments that will be off the books in 2 years. That's not how they're building their team right now. So this contract has real life serious ramifications right now, even if his cap number still isn't that big yet. So I think it'd be really cool to show Jed York and other owners like, hey man, you really don't have to make this mediocre quarterback or not, I'm going to say mediocre, this good quarterback, one of the highest paid players in the league. You could argue no quarterback should be making $50 million a year. Well, I've been talking about this for years too. Once you start getting above 10% of the salary cap, it gets really dicey. It gets really difficult. And look at the Chiefs. The Chiefs were the kind of the team that sort of ended my theory about that. I was like, there's very few examples of teams winning Super Bowls with quarterbacks making that much money. Then the Chiefs went on a run. But look at them now. About 3-4 years into his mega contract extension, 4 or 5, and his offense is terrible. It's still just him and Travis Kelce, and Travis Kelce's old. Rashee Rice isn't that great. Xavier Worthy isn't that great. They never replaced Tyreek Hill. They're desperately trying to get Eric Bieniemy back in to recreate some magic from 5-6 years ago. Like even with the best quarterback of his era, it's not working anymore. Not if you have teams like Seattle. Like how does Kansas City compete with a team like Seattle? How does Buffalo? How does Cincinnati? These teams that are so top heavy and incomplete compete with a team like Seattle that's totally complete, offense, defense, special teams, with a quarterback who isn't as good as Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, but he's top half of the league. How do you compete with that? You don't. This is long overdue. The quarterback market has made the NFL worse. And I hope they come back to earth, and I hope Sam Darnold's the freaking reason why. And I just want to point out, every GM that's gotten rid of Sam Darnold has gotten fired. The guy in New York, Joe Douglas, the guy in Carolina, whatever his name was, the guy in Minnesota. Is John Lynch next?